Welcome to today's deep dive. Whether you are listening on your commute, taking a break at work, or just relaxing at home, we're really glad you can join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's genuinely great to be here.
We are doing something a bit different today. We are intentionally slowing things down, setting a very relaxed conversational pace.
Which is something we probably all need a little more of, honestly. Unhurried conversations.
Right. So if you are an English learner looking for clear, accessible language, or if you simply enjoy a thoughtful discussion without the frantic rush of a typical news show, you are in the perfect place.
Absolutely.
Today, we are exploring a set of materials focused on March 8th, which is globally recognized as International Women's Day.
It's a very important day.
It is, and our mission today is twofold. First, we want to really understand the history and the significance behind this date. But secondly, because we are focusing on clear communication for learners today, we are going to explore the actual language we use to talk about the women in our lives.
We want to look at the vocabulary of gratitude, basically.
Exactly, the vocabulary of gratitude and respect. And to start us off, let's look at a foundational word that appears right at the beginning of our materials.
Okay, what's the word?
The word is celebrate. You know, we hear it all the time. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate holidays.
Right.
But in the context of March 8th, celebrating isn't just about throwing a party. It's an active choice.
Yeah, an active choice to show deep respect and genuine happiness for the work, the love, and the absolute strength of women.
It is an outward expression of gratitude.
That active choice is key, I think. It takes the idea of appreciation out of our own heads and puts it into the real world. You are actively recognizing the impact someone has had on you.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Sure.
When we hear the phrase celebrating women, especially in the media, our minds usually jump straight to the famous figures.
Oh, definitely. We picture the global leaders or the brilliant scientists making breakthrough discoveries.
Or world-famous artists.
Right.
But the material we are looking at makes a really compelling pivot. It argues that while famous figures are important, we really need to focus on what it calls everyday heroes.
What's fascinating here is how the source actually shifts the focus from global achievements to the vital daily contributions of the women in our immediate circles.
Like our mothers, our sisters, friends.
Exactly. The text specifically highlights the nurse who is working incredibly long, exhausting shifts at the hospital.
Yeah.
It mentions the mother who is working tirelessly day in and day out for her family. And it points to the teacher standing in the classroom, shaping the next generation.
But I do have to ask, does focusing so heavily on these everyday heroes run the risk of distracting us from the massive systemic inequalities that International Women's Day was originally founded to fight against?
That is a very fair question.
Like, does it make the day too small?
Well, the source actually uses these everyday examples to ground those massive global issues in our reality.
How so?
It takes a big, abstract concept like global inequality and brings it right to our front doors. It makes the argument that the invisible daily labor that holds society together is just as worthy of a global spotlight as a famous scientific discovery.
I see what you mean. It makes the global movement deeply personal. You can't truly advocate for women globally if you aren't recognizing the women in your immediate circle.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that strength isn't always on a magazine cover. Very often it is right across the kitchen table from you.
That's a great way to put it. Now, to really grasp the weight of this day, our materials remind us that we have to look backward.
We need to understand the historical context.
Right. This specific day on the calendar didn't just appear out of nowhere. It actually started over 100 years ago. And the driving force behind it was the demand for equal rights.
And for our listeners, when we talk about equal rights, we are talking about a level playing field.
Having the exact same rights as men.
Exactly. The same freedoms, the same societal rules, and the same legal opportunities.
And a century ago, that playing field was entirely unbalanced. The historical notes in our text paint a stark picture. In many countries around the world, women simply could not vote.
They had absolutely no legal voice in choosing the leaders of their own governments.
Which is hard to even imagine now. On top of that, their opportunities to enter the workforce or build a career were severely limited.
When you think about the reality of that, living in a society where your voice is legally designed not to matter, it really highlights the courage of the women who started demanding change.
It really does. And the text does make sure to celebrate the progress that has been made since those early days.
Oh, the leaps forward have been massive.
The materials point out that today, women do vote in elections around the world. They are leading huge companies.
We see women serving as presidents and prime ministers. The landscape has fundamentally changed.
It has, but, and this is a major theme in the source material, there are still challenges, meaning difficulties or problems, that need to be addressed today.
The journey is far from over.
It provides some very sobering examples of those challenges. First, it brings up the issue of equal pay.
Right. In many places, a woman doing the exact same job as a man still does not receive the same amount of money.
And the second major challenge highlighted is access to education. It is a hard reality to face, but right now, there are still girls around the world who are simply not allowed to go to school.
They are denied that basic foundation of learning.
Which brings us to a crucial distinction the text makes. March 8th is not just a day of celebration. It is equally a day for awareness.
That is a critical balance. Awareness means understanding a problem and actually caring about it.
Celebration is looking at the past and cheering for the progress.
And awareness is looking at the present, understanding these ongoing problems like the pay gap or the lack of education and bringing them to light. You simply cannot fix a problem if you refuse to look at it.
It's a dynamic tension. Now, moving into the language and structure of how we discuss these themes, our source material does something really beautiful here.
It really does.
To talk about admiration and respect, it leans heavily into personal storytelling. And it uses these stories to naturally demonstrate a specific English grammar concept: the past simple tense.
It is a brilliant way to frame the conversation for language learners. By reflecting on the women who shaped our early lives, we naturally fall into the past simple tense.
Because we use it to talk about actions completed in the past.
Exactly. And it turns out to be an incredibly powerful tool for honoring someone's legacy.
The text shares a deeply personal story about a grandmother to illustrate this. The speaker describes her using these very firm, declarative verbs.
She was incredibly strong.
Yes, she raised 4 children, she cooked, she cleaned. And despite all of that exhausting work, she still found the time to tell stories to her family.
Think about the sheer stamina required for that daily routine. And yet, the text notes that she never complained. She always smiled.
She taught her family the value of being patient and being kind.
The emotional weight of those simple sentences is striking. She never complained. She taught us to be kind.
You don't need highly complex vocabulary to paint a vivid picture of resilience.
Not at all. In fact, the simplicity of the past tense almost carves those actions into stone. It makes them foundational.
The source balances that grandmother story with another one, this time about a mother.
Right, the speaker recalls how their mother worked a demanding full-time job.
But then, after a long, tiring day, she came home and helped with homework every single night.
And the key phrase the text uses here is that even when she was utterly exhausted, she never gave up, meaning she never stopped trying.
She pushed through her own fatigue to make sure her child was supported.
And through those daily actions, she taught her child 2 fundamental lessons: how to work hard and how to deeply respect women.
What I love about this is how the grammar itself mirrors the reliability of the women being described.
The past simple tense is steady, clear, and direct. She worked, she helped, she taught.
When you use these straightforward structures, you are offering a very pure form of respect. You're simply stating the undeniable facts of their hard work.
That is a great way to look at it. The language reflects the quiet, steady nature of everyday heroism.
But the materials don't just leave us in the past. Here's where it gets really interesting. The narrative shifts away from the past simple and moves into the present perfect tense.
Which is the perfect grammatical shift for this topic.
Can you explain that for our listeners?
Sure. In English, we use the present perfect to describe actions that started in the past but are still actively impacting the present moment.
It is the tense of ongoing momentum.
Exactly. The text asks, what have women achieved in recent years? It isn't just about what happened 100 years ago.
It is about the living reality of today. The milestones listed are thrilling. Women have become top leaders in the sciences.
They have become major players in the business world and in professional sports.
They have won some of the highest awards in the world. They have started groundbreaking companies. And to quote the text directly, they have truly changed the world.
They have changed the world. That is the present perfect tense at its absolute best.
Because the results of that change are all around us right now.
Yes. But the text doesn't just focus on those big professional achievements. It brings the conversation back to the personal level by highlighting some highly emotional vocabulary.
Specifically, it focuses on the words support and empathy.
These are vital concepts. To support someone means to actively help and encourage them.
The text notes how female friends have encouraged each other through periods of deep sadness.
It also mentions how teachers have helped their students grow. And then there is empathy. Such a powerful word.
Empathy goes a step beyond just feeling sorry for someone, right?
It does. It is the ability to genuinely understand and share the feelings of another person. It is putting yourself in their shoes.
The source emphasizes that women have consistently modeled both incredible strength and profound empathy.
If we connect this to the bigger picture looking at the state of the world today, empathy and strength are exactly what our society is most desperate for.
I completely agree. Empathy and strength are not contradictory. They are deeply connected. Real strength is having the capacity to understand others and still push forward.
That is a profound takeaway.
So, we have explored the history, the ongoing challenges, the beautiful personal stories, and the powerful vocabulary of empathy and support.
Which naturally leads to a very practical question for you, the listener.
What can we actually do with all of this information on Women's Day?
The material is very practical in its advice here. It focuses on actionable, everyday gestures.
The suggestions are actually quite simple. It says you can take a moment to look a woman in the eye and say a genuine thank you.
You can write a thoughtful message. You can give flowers.
But arguably, the most important suggestion in the entire text is simply this. You can listen.
Taking the time to truly listen to a woman's perspective, to hear her experiences with empathy, and to show respect that is a highly impactful action.
Small actions genuinely carry so much weight. However, the text makes one final, incredibly important point.
And what's that?
This respect, this celebration of everyday heroes, it cannot be limited to just one day on the calendar.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important reality check. March 8th is a focal point, but respect should happen every single day.
You don't put away your respect on March 9th.
Precisely. The awareness has to be carried into everyday life.
As we wrap up our deep dive today, the source material leaves us with two very direct, empowering messages aimed right at you, the audience.
First, if you are a woman listening to this right now, the central message is to recognize your own worth. Remember that your daily contributions are incredibly valuable and that you are strong.
And the second message is for those listening who are not women. It is a direct call to actively appreciate the women in your life. Don't let their daily labor or achievements go unnoticed.
Acknowledge them openly.
It is a beautiful sentiment. And keeping in line with our focus on clear language and communication today, we want to give you, the listener, a quick call to action.
Yes. We encourage you to practice your English by taking a quiet moment today to think about a specific woman who has positively influenced your life.
It could be a family member, a teacher, a friend. Practice formulating a clear sentence about her impact.
Try using the past simple to honor a foundational lesson. Something like, she helped me when I was lost, or she taught me the value of hard work.
Or use present perfect to focus on how she continues to influence you. Think of a sentence like, she has always inspired me to be better, or she has supported me through every challenge.
Taking the time to mentally frame that gratitude is a wonderful way to practice your language skills while also recognizing someone's value.
It truly is. Before we say goodbye, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
We spent a lot of time today talking about the vocabulary of support, empathy, and respect.
Building on all of that, consider this question. How will the specific words you choose to speak to the women and girls in your life today shape the reality they live in tomorrow?
That is a wonderful concept to reflect on. Language doesn't just describe our world, it actually builds the framework of our society.
The empathy you communicate to a young girl today might be the exact foundation she needs to become a confident leader in the future.
Our words have incredible power.
So think about how you will use your language to empower the people around you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this relaxed, thoughtful deep dive.
We hope you found the language clear, the history engaging, and the conversation inspiring. It has been a real privilege to unpack this topic with you all.
Have a fantastic week, everyone. Keep practicing those sentences, keep showing that empathy, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.